Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. So as you guys can see, I just finished mixing my track. All right, so let's go ahead and take a quick listen, and we're gonna go into the mastering process in Studio One Professional after this. So that's pretty much it. So we did just finish mixing that. If you guys want to watch that video, just watch the previous video. Um, so yeah, so now we just mix the track, right? I know it sounds extremely low. You guys be like, oh, it's never gonna sound good like that. We're gonna upload it, but no, we master our beats here. Um, so if the artist is like probably downloading, well, for me, the MP3 or the free, whatever, it doesn't matter. Everything's mastered. Um, and if, so everything is mastered that I make. So, so say you want to just master it or whatever. It's very simple. All right, so whatever mastering program you guys have, or if you guys just want to master on your DAW, your DAW, whatever workstation you guys are working with, you guys can master it in your DAW. I would just export this to a WAV file, right? And then bring up a new track and drag and drop that WAV file right on here, right? So you guys don't need to have a mastering program. You guys could master right on your own programs, right? So if you guys don't have a mastering program, fortunately for me, Persona Studio One offers a free, they call them projects, right? So project page is my mastering. So I'm gonna just, so let's name this track before I drag this into mastering, and let's just call it lessons, right? Because it's a lesson, right? So let's just call this track lessons, and then just for tracking purposes, I want to make sure everything's I do is cataloged, right, in my archive. So we're gonna send this. We're gonna add this to a project, right, which is my mastering session, and I'm gonna export. So I'm gonna drag it. So you guys saw. I'm gonna put yes. So this will revert. It's because I'm using the voice meter and OBS, and it's like routed differently. So that's why these frame rates are showing up. But this is how it'll show up. So if I want to add this to a project track, it's going to add here, and it's asking me if I want to export, and I'm going to click yes. And now it's bouncing my track to a WAV file, and it's going to automatically track it's going to automatically like send this track to my mastering page. Right, so that's what it's doing right now. So we could just wait for that. And I'm not a real good editor or shit like that, so everything I do is going to be kind of long form version. So I'll try to like chop it up into chapters if you guys want to get to like quick edits or whatever, and probably like 1 minute shorts. But other than that, I don't think I'm going to be editing anything. It's a real time waster. But yeah, I think the chapters are better. So that's cool. So cool. Okay, so finish mastering, right? So this is my project file, right? So if you guys don't have a mastering page and just want to master your stuff with your DAW or on a new track or whatever, you can, right? So exactly what I'm doing here, you guys could do on your stuff, right? So now I'm going to save the track, and here, you'll find all the components and stuff like that. LA Wells is my artist name, so not my producer. provoke beats, right? So right here, I'll just add my stuff. And then composer. Yeah, so right here under comments, I'll go to the track. So I'll go to the song, and it's 160 BPM, right? And if you guys remember, we're on A minor, right? So it's an A minor, 160 BPM, and then that's what I'll write right here. A minor, 160 BPM. Just in case, like if you guys ever check the properties on a track, the properties will tell you the comments, or if there's any comments on a track, right? So this is the metadata that people are talking about, right? So I'm gonna just put my name here. Cool. Just copy that, put that here. I'll just put trap. Cool. Cool. So we got a little session started now. And then the first thing I'm gonna use is an EQ, right? Because now I'm mixing my tracks, and I know it sounds still really low, so I apologize if it sounds low to you guys. But it's gonna sound louder as we go through this, right? So I don't want to increase the volume. I just want it to sound naturally, so you guys could get an overall sense of what the sound will sound like later, right? So again, to my trusty EQ. And then this, guys, when it comes down to mastering, you want to be extremely subtle with your EQs, compressions, anything you guys do. Want to be extremely subtle. So, for example, if you add, like 6 dB, of like increase on a frequency, you might want to cut that in half, or actually more than half. Because when it comes to mastering, this plays a big impact on your mix, on your final mix, right? So yeah, you guys don't want to do that, right? You want to make it sound as clean as possible. So just be wary, right, when it comes down to mastering. So I'm cutting some lows out, right? And then I'm gonna increase it for now, but it's because I want to find my frequencies, right? It's very hard to listen to, and you want to hear your frequencies. Sorry I'm so quiet, guys. I'm just kind of listening. could listen, right? So now we could like mute it and unmute it. I don't know if you guys even hear a difference because it's gonna be very subtle. This is like a little bit more glue to the mix, right? Like. I could clearly hear the changes, and it sounds fucking awesome. But if you guys don't hear it, then you guys might just need a little bit more ear training, which ear training is a thing, and it takes a long, long, long time to really master. I'm not saying I'm a master, but man, I don't even know how to describe my pain when it comes to mixing and mastering. So next I'm going to go with the VVC rack. So the VVC rack from Slate is fucking awesome. I really dig it. And if you guys don't have this, then you guys could just simply use, like, I really like the API or the 2500 API from Waves. If you guys fuck with the Waves one, or if not, you could do this with your stock programs, right? You guys don't need any of this shit. This is all just fancy shit. You're significantly going to improve your mix just with the stock plugins compared to not mastering at all, right? So you get somewhat of the same results with stock plugins. So what I like to do, I like to mute everything and go one by one. So these are like 3 plugins just in a rack, right? And it's all compressors, and they just are all stacked on top of each other. And I'm going to be doing very slight, subtle compression, right? And it's over the whole mix. And yeah, it's not going to be anything crazy. I'm just going to be going slightly subtle compression. And yeah, so a little subtlety and overall, and hopefully you guys will hear the changes, and then we'll compare, right, back and forth. So. That's it, just 1 dB of compression to that rack, right? Because as you keep compressing, everything keeps building up. So you don't want to be like -6 dB or compression up to 6 dB right here, and then the next compressor, another 6 dB compression, and the next one, another 6 dB compression. Now you're like at 18 dB compression, and you're like, what? Like, why did it sound so compressed? You know, you're like upset about that. So like total compression is like around -3 or 3 dB to 5 dB of compression, right? Is the maximum compression I'm gonna use. There's tons of other people or whatever like who mix and master who are probably professionals who are better than me, but this is how I mix and master, right? And I'm always learning and shit like that, but I don't watch videos anymore. I don't do tutorials anymore. I don't do any of that stuff. Like, it's just all for fun now, right? So I do this shit for fun. And this is what I learned. And it sounds good to me. And it's like I keep increasing my progression because I just using a lot of reference tracks and to be like, oh, I wonder, this level, or I wonder if it matches this level. Or and it's like, so I just buy tracks and, reference track it. So yeah, it sounds good, right? Right, so now let's add the second compressor. guys could even see that. It's very, very, very little. So you see that another -1. So now they're both stacked on top of each other, and now, which is my favorite, the fucking I think it's the MU or the, I don't know, but this shit, the FGMU, this shit sounds fucking sick. Right, so like around negative, like, or 2 dB of compression, 2 to 3 dB of compression, plus 1 and 1 equals 5. So around that level of compression is what I'm doing. I'm not making up too much gain, right? Just like an equivalent amount of compression that I'm doing, because I'm not leveling the track. I'm just compressing it, right? Let's take a listen, right? Let's go raw. Right, so that's EQ and compression, right? That's and limiting a limiter. If I was just to add a limiter on here and like EQ the volume, that'd be great. So I'm done, right? But I'm gonna add a few more things just to like spice up the tracks, and just because I have it, right? So, or that wasn't the only thing. You still need panning, but so I like this fucking Waves Max bass. It is fucking awesome. If you guys never used it. But I'll use it for real bass, and I'll use it for 808s or just drums in general. I use it to get that little extra low, like the little extra oomph for like a kick, or the bass, like resonance. If you guys listen, so, like, these are the lows already in the track on its own, right? That's the original bass. And then this is the max bass, which is this now. I can move the frequencies. You guys can see how bright it sounds. But mostly I stick around this frequency. And then sometimes this, I might be clipping on my max bass, or I might be like, at -3 or something like that. But right now I'm at -1, and it sounds good. And then my 808 wasn't that strong, if you guys remember. Clearly, I could clearly tell a difference of the max bass. So I hope you guys listen to that. So next, I'm going to be batting panning, binaural one. So binaural pan, and then I also have the S1 from Slate. So I also have this one. So I will play around with either one depending on the track, right? But I always tend to just go with the stock plugin for Studio One for some reason. It just sounds a lot better. I use the S1 when it comes like during mixing, when it comes to maybe like if I want to get like a funkier bass sound or like an overall bass sound or something like that, like on actual bass, or guitars, or maybe like doubling guitars or like weird sound on guitars, but not during mastering. So I like this binaural pan, or you can use any panning software that you have or plugin or whatever that comes with your stock plugin. And then this is already at 100%, and we're just going to increase it. So for the most part, I usually pan my stuff to around 150% and not 200%. 200% will be a full width pan. And then that's where you'll start hearing like delay issues or kind of like a reverb or a tail. And to your width if your mix is not correct. Also, your like drums might sound less punchy. Your 808 sounds less punchy if you're at like full width, 200%, right? So this would be considered like the same with like the S1, like a 2% or a 2 or 3%, like this, the same thing, right? You're spreading your width like very wide. Cool. So now that's it for our panning, and then let's check our LUFs. Let's check our LUFs. Make sure SoundCloud, or not SoundCloud, fucking Spotify and all these like companies don't overly compress your shit, because they will fuck your shit up if you don't know how to mix or master. They will fuck your shit up. And I just noticed that recently, because I haven't been making music. Well, I mean, I've been making music like that for a while now, but, you know, not really paying attention to the whole music industry stuff or anything like that. So it's very weird that they moved on to digital, and they moved on to like LUFs, and now it's no longer like, like this 44.1, 16-bit, like, or you guys know what I mean. Like it's all changed now. Even like on like TuneCore and stuff like that, they ask for a higher resolution or stuff like that. So it's kind of weird now. So I'm just trying to get all that figured out again, right? So cool. So I think it sounds dope. So now we're gonna go to the last step, and that is limiting, right? So we're gonna add a limiter, and I'm gonna use the slate limiter, and I'm gonna go to a preset right here that I absolutely love, which is a Dave Pensado preset. He is a fucking pro. If you guys don't know who he is, I really recommend you guys look into Dave Pensado. I wish he had longer, like more like videos. Unfortunately, like his videos are like 2 to 3 minutes each. It took me like 2 hours to watch a 2 to 3 minute video just to really understand and comprehend what he was trying to explain in that video, right? Because I'm that fucking slow, like plain and simple, right? But he is like a fucking master engineer. He mixes everybody's big tracks, all these like professional people, right? And yeah, so I watched a lot from him. Shout out to like a home studio trainer and like Johnny Gibe or he's like studio home recordings or something like that. Also mixed with Studio One. They're the ones who I really learned from, because at the time, back then I used to have Studio 1 2. Right, not Studio 1.4, not Studio 1.5 or 6. I used to have Studio 1.2, and I started with originally Studio 1.1, the original Studio 1, and then Studio 1.2 came out, and I got that version, and then there was like 0 YouTube videos on that except for these two guys, which is where I learned like most of my stuff. Right, so let's go ahead and listen to it now, and it's gonna be extremely loud now. So. Please protect your ears, or if you guys are listening to headphones or something like that, just watch out. I warn you guys now. It's going to get extremely loud, and I'm just going based off the settings, but I'm going to adjust these settings, but it's going to be extremely loud. So it's just warning. So that's pretty much it, guys. Like uh yeah, that's pretty much gonna be it for the mixing and or the mastering part. But then let me sometimes you might run into issues. Like I'll run into issues. Like I might be thinking right now, like the synth might be a little bit too loud, or maybe like a little second melody might be a little bit too loud. All right. And the reason why I really like Studio One is that I could literally just um go back into the track, make a change, and it will update on its own, right? I don't have to look for the track. I don't have to ask the engineer to remix something or be like go back and forth and stuff like that. Just listen to it from the beginning, and then I'll see if there's any adjustments that need to be made, and then if there is, we'll go through them real quick, um, just to kind of like tell if uh if it needs any like work, right? So it sounds pretty good, right? Pretty decent. I think the high's a little bit. I'll probably drop this down to like maybe 45, 55. Let's do 150. So I think the highs are a little high. Like, cause as you like kind of compress and stuff like that, the stuff on your the lows will get a little bit isolated. So this is what I'm gonna show you guys, right? So I'm gonna reduce like the whole synth stuff just a very tiny bit, and I'm gonna show you guys how I do it with Studio One. If this was a different program, then consider the video over. But I'm gonna do it right here. So I'll go back to the song, right? Of course, it's gonna tell me this, but now, so I'm gonna listen to the song again. And I'm gonna just turn my synth bus. I'll just like 2 dB or 1 dB down. So about 1.5 dB down, like 1.6. And then I'm gonna save the track, right? So I saved it, and then I'm gonna go back to my project page, which is my mastering page. And you're gonna see this little gear right here. I'm gonna hit the gear, and it's gonna remix the song, or like make it wave, right? So it's gonna make the track, and it's gonna update the track automatically, and I don't need to make any more adjustments to the track, like remix it or remaster it or do anything else, because my settings are already there. I'm just literally updating my mix, right? So I updated my mix just a tiny bit, and then click save. Because my mix was already there. It just needed just a slight slight little adjustments. I didn't want to break down the whole part, or the whole track apart. So that's why I really enjoy Studio One. They should really sponsor me, because I am really shilling the fuck out of them right now. But no, I'm not sponsored. This is not a sponsored video. This is just me liking good products. I will give props to people who make good products. Like, so this is re-listen to the track again. So now I think it sounds fucking like sick. Like the highs or like the synths don't sound overbearing now. Like it sounds very leveled to the drums. If you guys didn't pay attention to that before, like please rewind it a little bit. But that's gonna be it. Like, um, I spent way too much time on this lessons. Like I haven't made a beat in a minute, so I'm gonna upload this beat. So like this is done for me now. So I'm gonna end the video now, but like I'm gonna like put a image on the video or put a like a photo right here, right? Uh, so I could embed the images and all that stuff into the song when I mix it and upload it up to BeatStars and stuff like that, and my YouTube channel and my website and all that shit. So, um, yeah, so it's just easier for me to fuck around with. But that's gonna be it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed this little creating. We went from creating to mixing to mastering this track. I hope this wasn't too long, of a video or of a little series and shit like that. I hope you guys learned some shit from it. And if you guys did learn some shit from it, like, subscribe would be appreciated, but I understand how everybody is and you don't want to go out of your way for shit. You guys could always follow me on social media. It's Provoke Beats. It's going to be everywhere on social media. It's just at Provoke Beats. Um, YouTube, like Twitter, or not Twitter, fucking Instagram and TikTok and shit like that. I haven't started promoting yet. I'm kind of still waiting to build a bank. I'm really lagging it on promoting, but I feel like I need to start fresh, right, and build a new bank and like give people good stuff. So I'm kind of building up a little bit of inventory. But if you guys want to start subscribing, I'd be really appreciated, or start following me. I really appreciate that. But let me know if you guys learned anything, or if you guys have any other questions, or we could go into like a band mix or some shit one day or whatever. Just thank you guys for watching. Have a good one and peace out.